The new Republican saying, how about that flat tax? The flat tax is the new flavor of the month, the new gimmick of the Republican candidates. Let's see, Herman Cain, he's got a flat tax plan. Newt Gingrich, he's coming out with one, has always loved it. Now Rick Perry, who was polling in single digits, has unveiled his own 20% flat tax proposal. CNBC's John Harwood correctly pointed out to Perry his plan would be great for the super rich, which is fine with Rick Perry.
For those at the top, it is hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars for them.
But I don't care about that. What I care about is them having the dollars to invest in their companies, to go out and maybe start a business because they've got the confidence again that they actually get to keep more of what they work for.
Perry also told Harwood the real reason he's been indulging in birther conspiracies with Donald Trump.
It's a good issue to keep alive. Just, Donald's got to have some fun. I'm really not worried about the president's birth certificate. It's fun to poke at him a little bit and say, hey, how about let's see your grades and your birth certificate.
So, a conversation piece. But at a news conference in South Carolina this afternoon, Perry pretended the birther talk is beneath him.
I'll cut you off right there. That is one of the biggest distractions that there is going. We need to be talking about jobs.
Let's bring in MSNBC contributor Jim Moore, author of the upcoming book, Adios Mofo, Why Rick Perry Will Make America Miss George W. Bush, and David K. Johnson, columnist for Reuters and author of the book Free Lunch. Gentlemen, good to have you with us tonight. Jim, you first. A couple of questions. Which is the real Rick Perry in those two clips?
Well, he likes the birther thing, Ed, because primarily it's going to motivate the far right, and it's going to get more and more people to come in his direction from the very conservative types, the social value types. And I thought it was interesting the way he hid behind Donald Trump and said, oh, Donald Trump doesn't think it's real, but it's beneath me to really confront it. Well, he's basically bringing it up and trying to use it and raise it again and agitate the right and bring them in his direction and let him know that he's going to say and do anything necessary to win.
And have the Republicans, Jim, successfully put the flat tax on the table for all candidates for 2012, that this is something that is going to be a part of what they want to do for America?
I think it's going to gain traction within the Republican primary process. It doesn't look like it's going to go away. One of the things that Perry did, Ed, today when he announced this was hold up that little single card and suggest simplicity. And people are not paying close attention right now, and they're seeing that single card and they're thinking, you mean I can file my taxes on something that simple? What they're failing to realize is that most people who are low-income earners are below 20% right now.
Yeah.
And the whole idea that he's releasing millions of dollars and it's going to motivate them to create jobs is nonsense. It's not trickle down. It's nonsense that won't ever happen.
David K. Johnson, you know it better than anybody. Is Perry's flat tax in any way, shape, or form realistic?
No, and when the National Review says it's not a serious plan, it tells you that a lot of people on the right understand that. This plan is even worse than Harwood's question, however, suggested, because by eliminating the estate tax, it would mean that huge fortunes that have never been taxed would be passed on to future generations without ever having been taxed. You want to set up a dynasty and destroy the work ethic and the success ethic in America, boy, this plan would really further that idea.
Well, it would also rob the Treasury. I mean, it would seem to me that these candidates would make sure that there'd be enough money in the Treasury so we can run what government we have left after they want to butcher all of it. But it doesn't. How can you tell people they can opt in or opt out of the current system but then go flat tax and calculate exactly how much money the government is going to take in to operate?
Well, you know, just a little while ago, Republicans were telling us that deficits were the biggest problem around. Now we have a series of plans you're going to see come forward, and I agree with Jim. The flat tax is on the agenda now, all of which inherently are going to mean bigger deficits because they're going to discover that a lot of commerce in America depends on government spending.
Yeah, and David, how would this graph look with a flat tax over the last 30 years. This is my favorite. I show it. There's the red line going up at the top 2% over the last 30 years, and there's the average wages for the working folk of America, where the wages have gone for the middle class in this country. If we had a flat tax, say, 10 years ago, what would that graph look like today?
This way. Straight up. Just straight up.
And, Jim, is this going to resurrect Perry's stock in any way, shape, or form? I mean, he's speaking the language. I mean, if you go down the issues, he is the true conservative. The only place where he's really stumbled is on immigration issues, which he does have experience on, being the governor of Texas. But the fact is, you know, pro-life, his tax situation, all of the privatization that he wants to do. I mean, isn't he really what the conservatives want?
I think that they very much want this guy. As I've suggested before, he kind of has run Texas as a cash and carry operation for corporate America. They know that. They like even further this business with the flat tax and removing it for the wealthy and getting more money, taxing work and not taxing wealth. I think that's something that's very appealing. He's trying to look like he's popping out some big ideas, and he's never been guilty of generating anything original, but he's grabbing Steve Forbes' old idea of hope, growth, and opportunity, turning it into cut, grow, and balance, and hoping that it gets some traction this time. And the Republicans and the social conservatives within the primary process are still drawn to this guy. They haven't gotten over him yet, even though he's low in the polls. I look for this to help him.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see if it does help him. But what we've seen evolve here over the last 6 months, nobody was really talking about a flat tax. But the guy who's propelled himself out in front of the polls is Herman Cain. He did it with 999 because it was a conversation piece. Now, all of a sudden, what Steve Forbes has wanted all along, David Kaye, he's going to get in this platform of the Republican Party. It's going to be some kind of a flat tax proposal to the American people, and they might buy the simplicity of it. What do you think?
Well, I think there's a very good chance that the Republicans will adopt a platform that includes this, and what I call the Steve Forbes never has to pay taxes again tax. Because remember, the flat tax applies to wages. Capital incomes would be tax-free.
Jim Moore, David Kaye Johnston, always a pleasure. Great to have you gentlemen with us tonight. Thanks so much.